Buenos nachos, amigos, and welcome to Record Breakers, your fun book club for music, your fun music sharing podcast thing that we do on the fairly regular. I'm Petey Rave, your man with no plan. Here with me is, of course, my crew, my team. We've got Brett.
You here to hear first for if words work. Hi.
Yes. We've got Drew.
Cops.
Yes. And we've got Patrick.
Hello.
Yes. We're here to talk about music. We're here to share with each other an album as we do every week for y'all. Here to provide an album for us to talk about this week. Drew, what do you got for us this week?
Well, I thought I would bring something in that's pretty new. This came out December 2nd of last year, 2016. And it's something from someone we've covered before. I think a lot of us, a lot of our listenership will know either his rap work as Childish Gambino or his acting work as Donald Glover, whether that be in Community or as part of Derek Comedy. But he created an album that was a departure from his normal music as Childish Gambino. It's an album called Awaken, My Love.
Yeah, and a departure to say the least. We'll get into that, but let's talk about expectations. Brett, what expectations did you have coming into this album?
Well, I knew I don't know a whole lot. I'm not a huge Donald Glover follower in any of his little artistic endeavors, but I have some idea of the music that I've heard, and I know that a lot of people that I know were flipping their shit when this album came out for a variety of reasons we will get into later.
Patrick, what expectations did you have coming into this album?
I had heard all of the hubbub about this being a not a rap record. I'm familiar with, Donald Glover's previous work as Childish Gambino. So I went in knowing I was getting something that was unlike the previous stuff, but didn't know what that unlike was actually going to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that unlike this is a funk record. Drew, let's get into it. How do you describe this album musically?
Well, like we said, Donald Glover in his music career as Childish Gambino is he's had a few rap records, a few mixtapes and stuff like that. And he's always been someone that has musically dabbled in a lot of different stuff as far as the beats and music goes behind his rapping. But it's mostly been he's rapping over it, and whether it be the stereotype or something about himself, it's been rap. There is not one shred of him rapping on this entire record. It is somewhere in between, it's hard to describe because it mixes these weird, psychedelic funk.
Yeah.
Psychedelic
and funk and an R&B.
This R&B thing that's just really kind of sounds way different than anything he's ever put out before, obviously. And once it also sounds really cool. There is a lot of really, really strong bass work in this, really, really strong bass work in this, in my opinion. There is a definite groove, but at the same time, this is not a dancey funk record. This is not your Bootsy Collins making you move your feet on the dance floor. This is not this is something that is way weird. Right. There's a song on it called Zombies, for instance, and we'll probably get into that, a couple of us, as we go into it. But it has a definite love for that era of funk and R&B. Also, Gambino's vocals on this are way better than I thought they would be. Usually when you get a rapper that tries to do sung vocals, it's usually not very strong. And I thought they were pretty solid here. I mean, you're not going to get the vocal tenacity that you would get out of like other singers, but he still proves himself in this, I think. And there's just a really cool 70s psychedelic tone to the entire thing that I think is really, really cool. When I first heard it, if I'm honest, I really didn't like the record, but I listened to it another time, like after my first, I listened to it while tripping on acid.
Yes.
No, I listened to, which I don't think would be a bad way to listen to this
He did his
record.
real hard drugs. It was IBC root beer. That's his hard drugs.
Yeah.
He listens to albums.
I pounded back 5 Mountain Dews and then, no.
5 Mountain Dew
like,
Code Reds.
Yes.
But like I listened to it a second time because I'm like, okay, I've got to give this an honest shot. I can't just be mad because it's not Childish Gambino rapping. I've got to actually like give this a fair shake. And when I did that, I started seeing that there was more layers to this album than I originally gave it credit for, which I thought was why it might be interesting to bring to a forum like this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it definitely also shows Childish Gambino's music diversity, his arsenal. Brett, what would be the themes elements that caught your attention on this record?
Okay. My experience of listening to this album mimics Drew's for the first part. But no, I this is an album that felt like someone was trying to make a less than serious attempt to work down a checklist of R&B and funk things that like they scribbled on a sheet. We need a quack bass. Yes, got it. Check. We need plate reverb and a microphone that's way too far away from the chorus singers. We need train whistles. Got to have train whistles. Hoot hoot. There's sproings. There's tons of sproings everywhere. You need that guitar lick like you hear on cop dramas in the 80s. You know, got that. Yeah, it's there's some weird shit going on here. And it's not straight up doing. It doesn't do anything that a funk album it's not a funk album. Completely. There's funk in it. You're right. There's no rapping. There's not nearly as it. I came in here expecting one thing, and I got a complete other thing. But the lyrics, as the resident not lyrics guy, they weren't at all like forward in your face. They were sort of in the background, all the weird shit going on. And I kind of dug that because the things that I kept coming back to in my listen throughs were the electric piano or there's this one guy whose job it is to make this one noise in this song at this one time kind of things. And I'm like, oh, that guy did something. He made me smile. So there's a lot of weird things, and it's hard to make words for some madman coming up with weird music it's based off of funk and R&B and kind of has some weird stuff going on with that. But no, it is something definitely that has risen above titles
and labels and whatnot. Patrick, what would be the themes elements that caught your attention?
This album. So the more I think about it and the more I've listened to it, this is Donald Glover, the human, whether it being Donald Glover, the actor, Donald Glover, the comedian, Donald Glover, the Childish Gambino rapping, whatever this is. He is someone who does not want to be pigeonholed as being good at one thing and only one thing. For better or worse, that guy wants to be good at everything, or at least not be perceived as being a one-trick pony. And I had a little bit of a different reaction to Brett. I feel like this was an earnest attempt to make like a funk and R&B record. I don't know if it was a great funk and R&B record, but I feel like he was trying real hard to make this what came out. It's not my favorite record.
Boogeyman is from the soul, man. Boogeyman from the soul.
But I think he wanted to try something completely different, which takes balls. Because if he would have just made a rap record, he would have sold a bajillion copies of that. Because people love Childish Gambino rapping, sells records. and he decided to do something different, and that takes balls. And I'm kind of impressed by it, because this isn't even, I wouldn't call this shitty or anything. It's it's just an attempt to do something totally different, and at points it's kind of good. There are points of it that aren't that great. There are some songs that, you know, aren't the best, but like, so my personal experience, I think the way that a lot of Gambino fans, based on internet reaction, felt like this. I felt the way they felt about this record when the last Daft Punk record came out, when I wanted a French house record, and instead, you know, it was, you know, all Nigel Rodgers guitar and, you know, basically a disco album. This
Good
is
disco album.
Yeah. And I don't love it, but I still listen to it, but it wasn't what I wanted. And this is like, I can see, like, this is not what Childish Gambino fans probably wanted, or Donald Glover fans who, you know, dip their toes in the Childish Gambino waters. But it's at least interesting, and there were songs on it I enjoyed, and that's, you know, like, rapping and singing are two very, very different, you know, things to do, and Gambino's a pretty good rapper. I think technically people debate over whether the content's any good, but technically speaking, he's good at what he does. And he's not a horrible singer sometimes. I wouldn't say he's no Prince, but like some of the vocals on this are pretty and have questionable choices made, but I'm reasonably impressed that, like, you can go from camp to this in a couple of years.
Yeah. He lacks some technical skill, but he has a great earnestness, and
and a lot of money.
Yeah,
he can hire anybody he wants.
But yeah.
Weird being in a successful show, also having 2 successful albums, and then being hired on for movies. Apparently, that gets you money.
Yeah.
And you can try whatever you want when you got money.
Yeah, this may not be an album that people wanted, but it's an album he wanted to make. So it's like, but let's talk about some key tracks. Talk about some of those songs. Drew, what would be some of the key tracks?
All right. Well, Me and Your Mama. Gonna start with the lead track / lead single. One, if you haven't seen the music video for Me and Your Mama, be aware that to launch this record, Childish Gambino played 3 sets over 3 nights, Joshua Tree, and was in like glow in the dark, like blacklight reactive, like crazy paint and like crazy glowing everything, and was like dancing in like a grass skirt and singing in that, and like the stage was like super dark, and that's the video, and it is Google Cardboard like ready. So you can put it in your VR machine and watch it on YouTube for what that's worth.
Yes.
So that exists. If you want to talk about like, hey, was Childish Gambino going off on a tangent with this record?
Yeah.
Yes.
Fuck it. I've still got my Nexus 6, so I can use my quad HD screen. I'll pop that in there.
Yeah. No, that's yes. So that is Me and Your Mama is that, but it also is just a really good opener. For what this record sort of is. It's weird. It's a little trippy. There's that like laughing dude in the background that like permeates throughout the entire track. That's really weird, but also great. And the singing in it actually is pretty solid. In my opinion, for this one, it's like, okay, Gambino is going to be singing and it's not going to be fucking god awful. The Zombies I have to bring up, because the way the like synthy key work and guitar work works itself into each other and weaves around towards the end of that song, I think is really, really solid. There was something that was just awesome to me about that, the ending of Zombies. I really, really loved it. And then the other single, Redbone. The bass in Redbone is just so cool. Like the like thumpy bass string pop that you get in some like darker like funk stuff, like that is, there's a groove to that bass line that I want to learn it eventually. Like I want to find it and like just sort of figure it out and play that, because it's just, I think it's a pretty cool bass line. And the whole low end on that track, not only the bass guitar line, but also like the actual like line drums and stuff like that they sort of put in that adds a cool thickness, I think, to that track. So,
Brett, what would be some of the key tracks for you?
Well, I want to mention the first use of prominent sproing, and Have Some Love. There's also that the example of weird reverb used on people singing a chorus of people, where they're all like off microphone and the microphone's like way far away, so it gives this weird room noise. It's weird. It's as if they were being recorded in a shitty studio, but it's got that effect, and they pulled it off. I'll end nice, but I'll go with Boogeyman. It's certainly a weird song, but the more I listen to it, it's like the Transmorphers version of Parliament, but if Transmorphers the movie had an effects budget. Like, man, there's a whole lot of neat sounds, and there's a bag of funk music tricks that they just dump out. It's just that the Transmorpher script can only get you so far. Yes. Even with the most effects. But no, it's not a song with a lot of substance, but it's the fucking Boogeyman. I mean, I don't think we're crossing, new waters of music on a song, on any song in this album anyway. But yeah, but Redbone is the song that I can't be mean to. Like, you start off with like a 70s R&B track that, does its thing. And then when the chorus comes in, you get 80 synth, which doesn't really fit, but it works. I'll get behind anytime somebody, it's a track that stuck every time the album looped around. It stood out. It was executed very, very well in a song that any of these songs could have been fucked up by one thing done wrong. Yeah. None of them really fucked up. They're weird, but they're not stinkers. Yeah. Like, and I am a proponent of weird. I'll go on my space journeys and vision quests, but there's some stuff in this album.
Mm-hmm. There's some stuff. Patrick, what would be some of the key tracks for you?
Start with the Record Breakers thing. Me and Your Mama, the first track. It's that's trying some shit. It's a song, I would call it sprawling, because it is. It's trying some shit. If you came into this record having only ever heard like Childish Gambino rapping, and then you were given this sight unseen without like watching the internet freak out about it, it would probably freak you out. And I'm assuming that's what happened to Drew. It freaked him out. He's like, what the fuck?
An experiment, a great experiment would be giving somebody Freaks and Geeks, just the song Freaks and Geeks,
and then giving them this.
Like, giving them like Childish Gambino doing like the rap braggadocio song, like Bonfire or Freaks and Geeks, and then like immediately setting them down and going like, same guy here, and then them going, huh? Like, I just thought of that, and that would be awesome.
Then Have Some Love. It was just fun and funky and cool, and it had some cool vocal harmonies on the chorus, and I like a good vocal harmony. And then Boogeyman. Man, this is Parliament Funkadelic. Like, just like take their playbook and lay it all out there.
It's weird that you say that about that song and not Riot.
Yeah, well, that had literal Parliament.
Yeah,
correct.
But like,
weird that
but
none
like,
of us know.
But like Boogeyman, I didn't love the vocals and the way the effects were on them, but I liked the song enough to overlook that. And then just sort of honorable mention, Stand Tall, the closing track. It had nice vocals. Like, somewhere in here, Donald Glover can sing. He just made some choices of what to do on a few songs that I think hurt him. Especially, again, the guy is reaching deep into a genre he has previously not been in. I mean, soul, funk, and R&B are absolutely the ancestors of rap music in a lot of ways, especially because they get sampled to death in rap, or at least did early on. And like, I can see the connection, but again, it is a very, very different genre in terms of in terms of what's required. Now, his collaborator Ludwig Göransson, which I'm probably saying wrong, who presumably was the musical genius behind this, a lot of it, should like, musically speaking, music was fun. Like, it was well played. The people who they got to play this record were good. Obviously, this is what money gets you. You get good studio musicians. Some people got to make a living for a couple of days making this record, and that's cool. But I enjoyed the music for the most part, and there are some 4 or 5 songs where I question the choices of how the vocals were done, but like, I didn't hate it, which is weird because I should have hated it.
Mostly, maybe don't, like, if I could say something about the vocals, maybe don't go so high on some tracks.
Yeah, you're not Prince, Childish Gambino. You're good. You're talented. You're way more versatile than people gave you credit for. You are not Prince.
Yeah.
Only Prince, you're not
Prince,
very good.
Yeah.
Keep the falsetto down. Like, because when he keeps in the mid to low range, like, I think
good. Like Stand Tall.
Good.
Stand Tall is in his core range of vocals, and he sounds like a good singer, which is unusual in rap, but not completely unprecedented.
Yeah.
And I think if he stuck around there more often and they wrote songs around there, which, clearly they're talented enough to do, I think it would come off better. Because he was really reaching here, and I give him a lot of credit for the reaching, like, for just being like, instead of, again, doing the easy thing and making the record that will sell, this is a passion project. This is, I'm gonna make the thing I want to make, and fuck all y'all. Yeah. And it mostly is pretty okay.
Yeah, and it still sold pretty well, all things considered. So it worked out. But yeah. And zombies is, I like that. Zombies is a anti-industry song in a new way. Like, they found a new way to put an anti-music, like a critique of the music industry, a critique of the entertainment industry, a new fresh one that isn't just let's beat MTV,
MTV, get off the air.
Yeah. Whereas now they found a new critique, which is the industry that will still eat you alive and spit you out as soon as they're done with you. Because that's still a thing.
Yup.
Oh, yeah. All over the world, too. But yeah, let's bring it back around the horn for some conclusive thoughts. Brett, what would be your conclusive thoughts on this album?
I don't know that I have conclusive thoughts. I don't really know how to come down on this album just yet. I've been in a garage nightmare of headphones in, listening to this album as the soundtrack to my woes in the shop. So I can honestly say I'm not mad at this album, but it didn't overachieve like highly either. It's sort of, I can't really be super emotional about it at this point. I'm better off having heard it, because now I can have something else to be. Hey, you remember that album where I have one more tool in my toolbox to bring out in a conversation. But if you're, I don't even know who I would like. Hey, are you into weird shit? Yes. Here you go. Have some of this. Take 2 of these and put this on and call me if something gets even weirder. But yeah, like it's a very strange album. So if you know what you're getting into from the get-go, you're not going to be disappointed. I don't think I can oversell. This is weird shit.
Yeah. Patrick, what would be your conclusive thoughts?
I like that somebody tried something new. For them. I mean, this isn't new music. This is the 70s. But like it's like,
the 70s acid trip. Well done. Yep.
Yeah. I like that I think we have not seen the last major genre change for Childish Gambino. I think he's going to try other shit. I don't know what that is, and
Speed
I'm curious
metal.
To see what it is.
A song with Willie Nelson. Worked for Snoop Dogg.
Yes. Country metal.
Yeah. But like, like that, like, we're watching, this person who also, has a very, very well regarded television show on right now.
Which I still need to watch.
I do too. I have not seen it. I just know it's very well regarded. And again, like, the guy did comedy and now he's trying to do something maybe a little more serious. And that, like, I like that he's trying to do something different with himself, and that he doesn't just want to be the guy from Bro Rape. Like, maybe that's what's driving him. Maybe it's 100%, hey, you're that dude from Bro Rape. And that is what is driving him to do all of this stuff. And I'm glad he's at least trying some shit, because
next thing he's going to try is selling Colt 45. So there's that.
Yes. Yeah, no, he's an all-around emotionally charged creative mind who loves comedy, loves creative writing, who loves TV and movies, he loves acting, he loves hip hop R&B, he loves black music in general. He loves trying things. The thing is, even just as a rapper, he was never in one place. Like, he was never because there's Freaks and Geeks, which is a more of a clever smart kid rap, and then he did more you don't want to say hood, but like more hard, and then he always bounced around even just in hip hop. So the fact that he jumped over to a different genre makes sense. Like, this surprised a lot of people, but it makes sense because he's never one to be, like Drew said, pigeonholed into one thing. Even when he was a rapper, you couldn't pigeonhole him into one style of hip hop. Like if you listen to his catalog, you can't put him into.
He had a concept rap album.
Exactly. And he was doing trappy stuff, but he also did a song. He sampled Grizzly Bear, the indie band Grizzly Bear. So he was never just one style of anything, even when he was rapping. So the fact that he did this isn't completely surprising, but this album is out there and completely surprising. And I'm glad he didn't do what people expect from him. He did what he wanted to do, and he has the freedom and the clout to do it, and that's awesome. If he had people around him to filter and focus him, and maybe some people that weren't just doing his vision, maybe it wouldn't even been a better record. But overall, it was still a great record. Drew, what would be your conclusive thoughts?
Every once in a while, an artist comes out and does something that you don't think they're going to do, whether that be music, whether that be acting. And it's something that they want to do to sort of push themselves in a different direction and try something that they want to try. And the last time I saw that happen was the last time I liked it as much as I liked this record was a record called In Reverie by Saves the Day. That record was way different than everything that came before it, but it was still something that I think was pretty cool. And I think this record for me, while different for much different reasons, I think sort of is the same thing. And that's, you get where he's coming from. You see, he obviously has a passion for what he's doing in this moment. There was something there that he wanted to try. Before this record came out, there was no social media from him at all. And the way he announced it was he tweeted a link to an app that was counting down and slowly going into the earth. And then at the end of the countdown, it just ended on a map of Joshua Tree with a link to buy the tickets for one of the 3 nights of the hey, I'm releasing this thing. This is what it is. I'm going to play the album from front to back on stage. and you can be here for it, and then like the weird trippy. Watch the video. If you haven't watched the video yet, watch the video for Me and Your Mama, and it's weird.
Yeah.
Like most of this record, but at the same time, it's something that he wanted to try something different, and he has said that before. He was like, he's said before he likes making rap music and he loves the hip hop and the rap scene, but at a certain point that he's gonna have other things to say that don't fit into rap music, and he's going to want to try them. And I think it was on, I want to say Breakfast Club. He said he was worried about his fans like hating him for wanting to go on that ride at some point, but him having the courage to say, you know what, like, if this blows up my entire music career and I can't go back to it, fine, whatever, but I want to do this record for me. Mm-hmm. I think that's pretty solid, and I think that's pretty cool, and I think that even if it's not something you go back to, even if it's not something you like, I think it's something that if you liked Childish Gambino's other records, deserves a listen to at least see where he's coming from. I know a guy who loves, like, he is the Childish Gambino, Chance, Future, like all that is like what he plays at work, and he listened to this record like probably like twice, and he's like, I get it, but I don't think I know enough about music to really like it. And that's okay, but it's still something that I think is worth hearing if you liked his stuff before, just to understand what he might be going to as an artist next. Because that's the thing about it, is the art, like people who do music, myself included, like you don't want to just sit on one thing. You want to jump around.
Yeah.
It's more fun that way.
Yeah, I do want to pull up this great thing I found on Wikipedia under the album Because the Internet, his previous album, which was in the recording production. It says that the album was primarily recorded in Miami Heat player Chris Bosh's mansion in Los Angeles, which Gambino dubbed, quote, the temple, end quote. There he kept strict rules which included no tweeting or Instagramming, no shoes, and work begins at 10 a.m. Which is fantastic.
That's kind of awesome. Like that, to me, things like that where it's like, if we're gonna do this, we're gonna go on a ride and like we want to create something, and like
we're focused.
Yeah, like that type
on
of focus.
10 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
not too early, but before lunch, we're gonna get started.
Reasonable time.
That's also it's the artist time frame, right?
Yes.
It's like, I'm gonna focus on my art and I'm gonna get this album done
really early in the morning.
Up at dawn, like that's dumb. Like,
well, that's not
I got into music so I could chill. Like, fuck.
We're gonna get up. We're gonna get up early though. 10 o'clock.
Yeah, that's right. Punk rock time.
We're gonna get a little recording in before we have a sandwich.
Yes.
Like, I'm okay with that. I can respect that. As somebody who may have woke up at 9 a.m. to be in the studio at 10, and then also then left and grabbed everybody fast food while he wasn't recording his track, I can respect it.
Yes, exactly.
I'll put respect on that name.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Cool stuff. Cool album. Those are our thoughts. Yeah, now we get to the main event of the evening. We'll get to our haiku reviews. We sum it all up in a poetic form. Let's get to it. Let's start with Brett. Brett, what do you got? What is your haiku?
That guy from that thing, making some music again. This time, it's different.
Yes.
As I record my rap album in Miami Heat fan Petey's house. We start at noon.
Yes.
So yeah, sorry.
If you recorded a rap album, that would be the greatest thing ever. Where do I put money down for that?
No deal.
The vocal booth is right over there in my shower.
I would pay for you for a plane ticket to Miami to record a rap album. Like, come on.
I'll just move this mic over there.
Indiana G is what it's called.
Yeah. MC Hoosier.
Yes.
MC Hoosier. The best shit ever. I want MC Hoosier.
God damn it, I'm gonna have to Photoshop something. Patrick, what is your haiku?
Earnest Funkin' Soul. Decent execution, too. Ballsy departure.
Yes, I'll go with mine. Funky diversion from Don Glover's old forte. Pulled off really well. And Drew, what is your haiku?
Something sounds odd here, but it's still pretty great. Not what you expect.
Mm-hmm. I'm just putting the note. Photoshop MC Hoosier. There you go. That's of course our thoughts on Childish Gambino's "Awaken My Love." You can of course find it on our Spotify playlist. Play Record Breakers the home game. Follow along at home. Keep track of what we're reviewing at any given week. We keep it fairly updated. Try our best. So go do that. On that Spotify playlist will be our next week's album, which is provided by me. I've got next week's album. It's my turn. And I'm bringing, speaking of new albums with a departure in sound, I'm bringing an album that was dropped like a little over a week before this album. And as a surprise, I'm bringing Bad Rabbit's newest album, American Nightmare. We talked about American Love before. Now we're talking about American Nightmare. And just based off of those names, you know that there's going to be a departure. So look forward to that discussion next week. But this is this week. And you can, of course, find us all over the internet. First of all, it's a new year, new look. If you're watching us on YouTube, hopefully you're enjoying this awesome overlay look thing brought to you by the Reverend Puck. He of our community of online compatriots. The Puck did a freaking awesome job with this overlay, looking real cool and designing it for us. So thank you.
And if you can't see it, just imagine something really, really cool, and it's like that.
Yeah,
but different.
Yeah. You can see our name there. You can see all of our. Well, I put all of our Twitter handles and the spaces for them. You can see all that. So, of course, you can find us all over the internet. I'll tell you where you can find us, in case you're not on YouTube. I'm PD Rave. Let's see. Patrick is at the Swagger. Brett is the Hey Beauty Bird, HIBBITYBIBBARD. Drew is at XJuciferX. I'm at PD Rave. The show is at 4 Record Breakers. That's the number 4. Record Breakers, recordbreakerspodcast.com, recordbreakerspodcast@gmail.com, rebelli.net for this and other shows, Rebelli TV on YouTube and other places as well. We're on iTunes, we're on Stitcher, we're all over the place. Go check us out, subscribe, like, share, do the thing. Until next time, hasta los huevos.
Toodaloo.